to the background of the shooter, and I have it here, basically stating that the cause for the shooting was the fact that the shooter had transitioned. This is, again, the radicalization and rhetoric that we see within our society that continues to bring violence amongst not just educational communities, but so many more communities around our country. We must demand more from our elected officials, university administration, but most importantly, ourselves. We cannot call ourselves student leaders if we are not directly leading in keeping our campus a safe and secure learning environment. It was time to review and revise the safety plan when a 21-year-old was shot and killed across the street from SUNY Potsdam. It was time to review and revise the safety plan when SUNY Buffalo State was shut down due to terroristic and bomb threats. It was time to review and revise the safety plan when students were shot at downtown last semester. If it was time to review and revise them then, it sure is damn time to review and revise them now. So I do hope that our leadership and our administration here at this university will be able to collaborate to formulate some sort of plan and advertise this to us, because as it stands right now, not a single person on this campus probably knows what to do in the event of an active shooter on this campus. So we need a real plan that's concrete and in writing, and it needs to be through collaboration with us. I'll yield back.
Thank you, Senator Klein. I actually have a question for you, Senator Klein. The university's Campus Safety Advisory Board, I believe it has student members, but do you know about any updated roster or meetings of that advisory board?
I didn't even know that existed. Doesn't even seem like it's much I publicize then.
Yeah, I don't know if it's active or not, but that's something I'll look into. Is there any further campus climate? Senator Rose.
Yeah, I just wanted to echo the words of Senator Klein. In one of my classes today, I had my teacher had to demonstrate that lock that you put on the door when doors don't lock. And I thought that never should a student have to learn that there should be a lock on the door, because that is the only exit in case of an emergency. And the room is mostly glass windows, so there's nowhere for us to hide, even if that lock was to be effective, and it wasn't. Because once you put more than, I think it was 300 pounds of pressure on that lock, the lock will break anyway. So it wouldn't make sense as to why the university doesn't have a plan for us to be safe when there have been, what, 320 mass shootings this year, and it's March 29th. That number should be 0. But I don't want to keep talking about that. I wanted to discuss the Student Association as a whole and everything that we're supposed to be doing. The Student Association is here to empower the student voice, and there are 4 branches: the legislative, the executive, the judicial, and finance. Everyone has their purpose and responsibilities. Senate is the one that makes the rules. Everybody else follows them. Judicial is the one that decides when rules are broken and they want to correct that action. Executive enforces the rules and puts on the programs, and finance handles all of the money. That includes our Board of Finance, who is the ultimate arbiter on contracts that are over $8,000, which includes the concerts. So I think the Board of Finance should be updated regularly when there are changes made to said concerts. I think that whenever there is any change made, that anybody should be open to their communication. And I would like to apologize, because I did move to have a bill on the floors of emergency legislation, and that was supposed to be a collaborative effort. That is still my effort for it to be collaborative. I hope to do that on the floor tonight, but since that is not the intentions of others, I would like to pull that as emergency legislation. And that will be discussed at a later date. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Rose. Any further campus climate?
The emergency legislation that was put out on the floor today was supposed to be in collaboration, in which it wasn't, so I just want to make that clear to everybody, as per the email sent by the person that is running the Elections Commission. So it can go out on the floor, I don't mind, but just letting you know that there was no the bill was not sent to me before it was about to be put out on the floor. There was a little communication about it, but there was nothing concrete in which we met. with the Elections Commission or our office manager. So just putting that out there. In terms of sending out information regarding the concert, my apologies that I didn't send an updated contract with a different name on it, but everything on the contract stood the exact same. It was just the name. So yeah.
Any further campus climate? Senator Temesgen.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Senator Temesgen, and I have a complaint within our campus. Last Wednesday, on March 22nd, 2023, after our Senate meeting, I was hungry, so I decided to eat at Jamal's. Prior to that, all I ate was from the CC, so 518, I had an acai bowl and halal shack, which never really gave me a problem. I went home right after that night to sleep. Around 4 a.m., I started to have really bad stomach issues and threw up repeatedly until every drink and food item was out of my system. Not only was I having stomach pain, but I was also having diarrhea, I know TMI, but nausea, back pain, headaches, dizziness, and so much more. Even through that pain, my boss forced me to go to work. I left early because it was clear I was not in the right physical state. After, I went straight to bed and stayed there because I was in no condition to leave my room. The symptoms never stopped. Anything I would eat or drink would come up and I was in so much pain. Since Wednesday, I have not eaten a meal because I'm scared that it would come up and I would be in a worse condition. Imagine that. I'm scared to eat anything because of the state Jamal's put me in. I was basically on bed rest and did not leave my room until Sunday. Even then, I had no energy. Weak is truly an understatement. At times, even now, my breathing gets heavy, my head spins, and anything I smell makes me nauseous. I decided I wasn't ready to stay. I wasn't ready to go out and still continue to stay at home. Not to mention, while I was at the hospital, my doctor told me that I lost 12 pounds. Imagine that in the course of just 4 days, 12 pounds. My clothes don't even fit the way they used to. Furthermore, not only did I miss important e-board meetings for ASA, and for those of you who know me, y'all know I wouldn't miss those meetings unless I was on my deathbed because I love ASA or whatever. But I missed my campaign video for this election, which will hurt me. School, tests, and work, it's getting in the way of my back, and that's the problem. It's now been exactly a week, and the way that this chicken sandwich has pushed back my life is indescribable. And if you know me, you know that I'm active. I'm involved on campus and basically try to be Superwoman. But now Superwoman can barely do the bare minimum. Even when I shower, I have to take a minute because of how dizzy and fatigued I get. To leave the dorms, it's genuinely a struggle. I've had food poisoning before, but the way this food poison has taken a toll on me is ridiculous, and this is just a snippet of my experience. I'm bringing this issue up to all of you because I want to make sure this never happens to anyone again. When I was running to be senator, my #1 priority was to have better food options for our students. Now that this has happened to me, I will make sure something is done because it is clear that our food options are poor. Jamal's got the wrong one because I refuse to stay silent for an issue that affects our whole student body. While I was in the hospital, I made an awareness video to prevent people from eating Jamal's and asked my following if they had any similar stories because I was going to bring it up this Senate meeting. Again, why did I do all of that? Because I'm a senator, and it's my job to be the voice of the people and let them know that their concerns matter. And to my surprise, I was not the only one struggling with this issue. Many people swiped up saying that their own personal stories, telling me that they got food poisoning, an upset stomach, or vomiting from places in the CC, Jamal's being the top one said. For example, open quote, Zaida says, open quote, "Every time I eat Jamal's, it makes me sick," with 5 Ks, emphasis on the 5 Ks. Valentina says, and I quote, "Bro, I knew I wasn't bugging since Thursday. I have been going to the bathroom like crazy, and that's when I had Jamal's." This was last week. Carolina, open quote, says, "I've definitely had many times where I feel nauseous or lightheaded after eating Jamal's, which is why I stopped eating in lots of places in the CC." And lastly, Mia says, and I quote, "Literally happened to me my freshman year, and the university dead don't care." Now, I only included a couple of statements because I know everyone is tired and wants the meeting to continue, but this is just a small part of the many replies I got. That says something. Is this how we want our students speaking about our school? Many students are avoiding the CC because they don't feel safe eating here. And to be quite frank, neither do I. We pay thousands of dollars in tuition, and it is required that we have a meal plan. So the least the school can do is give their students well food. I live on campus, so I'm required to have a meal plan. I pay $2,925 each semester for food. Imagine having to pay for food that makes me sick. And the crazy part is, regardless if I eat or not, I'm still getting issued a bill within my tuition. I have every right to sue. I have a strong case because I have proof and have documented each aspect of my experience. However, to me, it's not about the potential money I can make or giving the school a bad image. My personal goal is to fix the issue so students feel comfortable eating here without fear. Something needs to change. Speaking to many students myself, they feel like the school does not care about their well-being, and that breaks my heart. So going forward, I've decided, before the semester ends, I do everything in my power to create some sort of change. And as y'all know, I'm a new senator. I just came this semester, so I've been really quiet because I'm learning the ins and outs, observing, learning terminology, etc. in SA. Because I was basically thrown into it, I don't really know what my next steps are. But I knew that speaking up was the first step. Is it a petition I have to start, a bill I have to make, someone I need to speak to? This is where you guys come in. Please help me do something because I'll be damned if this happens to someone else when there was something I could have done to prevent it. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Temesgen. Is there any further campus climate? Senator Khan.
This was not my original comment, but I'm gonna talk to you because I'm the university council rep. So I've got some plans of action that you could do, we could do. There are administrators on this campus that specifically handle like food and like Sodexo and yada yada. I believe on you, Billy, you deal with Sodexo and Jeremy deals with Sodexo. So collaborating with them, seeing what's going on there, as well as talking to administration. I can get you names of people when I'm not on the spot. But I'll put a little email chain and we can talk to the right people because that's definitely an administration issue. And also like, girl, you were not the first person and the last person to have brought up this concern, and obviously you got people saying the same stuff. And you're doing the right thing. And you're doing the thing that like a leader does, and a student representative does, and that is so very slight of you. So I will do all of this in an email later. I just wanted to talk about, because there's so many people here, the student activity fee. Yay! For those of you who don't know, every week when we stand up here and we just have club after club and org after org coming up here asking for money, that comes out of the $110 student activity fee that you all pay with your semesterly, is that a word? Tuition? And that is what it is. And every 2 years, we have to vote to see if we'll make that fee mandatory. And it has been passing as mandatory very slimly in the last few elections, and that ballot, that question is on your spring general election ballot, so when you're voting for your pres and your vice pres and all your senators, you'll also be voting yes or no to it being mandatory. I urge you all to vote yes. I believe I can say that, because that is the money that makes up our $3 million budget to give all of our money to student orgs, that pays our directors for all of the amazing work that they do and all the programming that they do, that sustains Dippy Kill, that makes, the iPad that we have to buy, all of these expenses, they add up, and we want to give as much money to student orgs as possible, so please vote yes to your mandatory student activity fee. On that note, I will do my thing. Actually, I guess I could do this later, but TBD, or TBC, I should say. with what you can do for your student activity fee to promote, to get people to vote yes. We have the referendum games happening. If you haven't checked out the essay Instagram, that you can sign your org up, win points, win prizes. You can win AirPods. So there's a lot of fun ways for you to get involved with the referendum, and I really think that you should. And for those of you who don't know, because I didn't know, referendum means the vote for the student activity fee. Don't laugh at me. I didn't know the word. So yes, referendum, vote mandatory, those are all the things that you guys are going to be seeing and should have already been seeing. And get your orgs involved. And I will talk more about the actual opportunities to do that during my CEO report. That's all.
Kathy.
Hello. Hi. I just wanted to respectfully correct Senator Khan, is that it is not a yes or no vote for the student activity fee. It is mandatory or voluntary. So that will be the decision that you are making when you do so. It is the first thing that you will come into contact on your ballot. So again, mandatory and voluntary, not yes or no.
Guys, that's my first reference.
We got it. Any further campus climate? Senator Zhang.
First of all, I just wanted to thank Senator Temeskin for speaking out on this issue. I believe that this is certainly an issue that I can speak out on in our University of Syrian Services Board meeting on April 28 at 12 p.m. Just keep a note of that. I strongly recommend that anyone with these experiences come speak out in this University of Syrian Services Board meeting. Because I would be certainly speaking about this issue. In fact, when I saw her Instagram story, I actually took notes of it because I wanted to make sure that our student voices and concerns are heard by the university administration. Thank you.
And I think finally, Senator Klein.
Yeah, really quickly, you got a couple more days, less than 48 hours to advocate for the state budget. In a new poll this week by Siena College, 64% of New Yorkers surveyed support a reauthorization of the tuition freeze. 5 to 10 New Yorkers prefer raising taxes on corporations and people with high incomes in lieu of increasing the cost of public transit and education. Some shocking statistics: if the higher education plan proposed by Governor Hochul were to pass today, by 2027, the cost of a 4-year education at SUNY University centers, which are Binghamton, Stony Brook, this university, and Buffalo, could rise by 52% or $22,300 additionally on what the current price is for in-state students, and 70% for out-of-state students, or an additional $80,200. So the plan that the governor's proposing would literally bankrupt the majority of this room. So I strongly, strongly encourage you to keep the pressure up, keep calling your elected officials, and tell them to support a reauthorization of the tuition freeze or increase foundational aid for SUNY and CUNYs, because at this point, it's getting ridiculous with the price of attendance.
All right, this is not advocacy on any front, but if you do decide to take the trip down to the Capitol, elected officials love when students come by and voice their concerns and opinions. So if you do feel the need to do so,
Or write a letter.
please go. Okay. What? You looking?
Oh, no, wait.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any further campus climate? Okay, perfect.
We have one.
Oh.
Hi, I'm Shayla. I'm the Director of Digital Services. The only thing that I wanted to add to this discussion is the fact that I have a program coming up, and I went to the legal services and I asked if he could offer some assistance, and he basically told me that any disability concerns is out of his hands. So That's all I got. I don't know how we're gonna fix that, but.
Okay, thank you, Shayla. All right, I'm not even gonna look. I don't even see any more campus climate. So we're gonna move on, finally, to opening remarks. Good night, everyone, or good evening. I'm presiding today because our chair is trying to finish up some work. So, with that being said, I have a list of things I wanted to talk about. Congratulations to all the senators who got any awards this week, any Spelman or President's Awards. Congratulations. I really appreciate that and hope that you guys go to support that event. Blinking at the date. I'm working with SGA, she's over here, Tamara, on the Purple and Gold Awards. So, proud to be working with that collaborative effort. Purple and Gold, great. The Stoles order was put in this week, the purchase order, so we're waiting for that to be confirmed, so I can send that to the company, and they can have their money, and then we can have our Stoles. What else did I want to mention today? There's only 3 more sessions after this one left in the year. So, I know tears were shed about that. Of joy, thank you. There's a SUNY survey for sexual violence prevention campus climate that should be in all of your inboxes. I think it was sent. So please fill that out as soon as possible. I know that was one of our sticking points this year and a policy we really wanted to see change. So please do that. We're having a collaboration with the university's government and community relations department for a Pine Hills cleanup. Date and time to be confirmed. Blah, blah, blah. Yes, we already talked about the student activity fee. I don't know what I can say about that, but well, mandatory. And that's all I have. Any questions? Perfect. Erin, do you want to give a report?
I know, let's move on.
Okay, no report from our vice chair tonight. No certificates and celebrations. We're going to move on to our appropriations agenda. Hey, good.
This is a sponsorship request, if anybody's wondering. This is not even the one that I put here. So, give me 1 second. Go ahead, this is not the right one.
Okay. Nice to see you all again. I'm Ciara King, the president of Phi Alpha Delta.
I'm Yeshim Chinar, I'm the vice president of Phi Delta.
I'm Nate Crespo, I'm the alumni chair of Phi Alpha Delta.
Daniela Zabrova, secretary of Phi Alpha Delta.
So we are here again today, looking for
We're correct.
sponsorship bill of $2,350. The last time we were here, there were many concerns over it being open to the public, a ticket system, but we have addressed those problems. In the past 3 weeks, we have released a Google form with tickets open to the public. We posted on our Instagram. We actually reposted it twice. As of right now, we have about 20 members signed up on the form with an additional 10 alumni as well. That leaves us with about 15 to 20 extra spots for any student activity paying members outside of those in the fraternity. We had 4 to 5 people sign up who are outside of the fraternity, so we have around 15 spots up until this point for anyone outside of that to show up. So that's basically it.
Any debate? Any moves? This is Senator Klein.
Regarding alumni being covered, is that coming out of your pockets or is that coming out of SPEL?
We were told that as long as the alumni has some kind of connection to UAlbany, that you guys pay for it. And they are just people who graduated from here.
Such a question for me, Senator?
Explain that.
If we're going to attack this bill for not, for covering alumni, I think that would be a little violation of viewpoint neutrality, kind of, because we've sponsored events that have had alumni at them, including the first sponsorship request that was over $8,000, which included several alumni coming to this university.
free to correct me if I'm wrong, but it's a bylaw regarding student activity fee covering graduate students. If I'm misunderstanding wrong, once again, I say correct me. For reference, it is 502.1.2 for you to read that. If I'm not wrong, graduate students, alumni, faculty, and staff in administration may become affiliate members of student association. I'm not going to read the whole thing to save time, but I did give it for you guys to read.
Senator Seguencia. Pass down that mic.
Oh my God, yes.
So previously there was discussions on a ticketing system. Do you guys now have one? Is there a link, a Google forum, anything like that? Just so we can know that people do have access to this event publicly, and if there's something that's just tracking if people have access to this event. That's all.
Yes, on our official Instagram account, File to Delta U Albany, we do have a Google form on our link tree in our bio. It's accessible to anyone. Our account is public, so anyone, whoever has an Instagram, you put in our name, you go on the link tree, you click on the link, you got the form, you sign up, and you're in.
Any further debate?
I have a question.
Question by Sir McGrath.
Wait, so when you sign up for the Google form, is that to buy a ticket or is that to be covered under the number? Okay, yeah.
And then I see Senator Klein with the last debate.
Thank you. So, in consistency with my position over this past year, I will be voting no, seeing as this covers alumni. Relating to the bylaw that Senator Archer just mentioned, I did see under it 502.1.3, student membership, participations, or the ability to hold an office in any organization or activity financed in whole or in part by the student association shall be contingent upon payment of the student activity fee. So are these alumni that are going to be covered currently paying the student activity fee?
That answer would be no, seeing as they no longer go to this university. Am I allowed to make a debate point?
No.
Great, I will anyway. My debate point is that we have had several events where we've had students who have never even attended this university get paid for by our money. One actually sponsored by APO. They had their Safe Halloween event, and they covered several hundred kids coming here, including their candy and stuff like that. So I really don't see why we wouldn't fund alumni who have actually had their time here at UAlbany and graduated from UAlbany and paid the student activity fee for 4 years in a row, given us that money, actually allowed us to spend over $1 million last year to increase everybody's stipend that gets a stipend at the moment. I don't see why this bill will be subject to criticism. Thank you.
I just wanted to make one correction. Yeah. No, it's my word. I just wanted to bring up one correction. This has literally nothing to do with you guys. Alumni, alumni. And I'm very glad that you guys took the time to do the bill and redo the things, and I saw the form, yada yada. I would just like to just put out there, and this is not to sway anybody or anything, but Safe Halloween was to literally feed needy children. It's different than this event, and I just would sorry, not meals, but to give children who would not have had access to that otherwise. This has nothing to do with this bill. I would like it to stay to have nothing to do with this bill, because again, I'm just not gonna hear it's the same thing as alumni brunch. It is not. It literally benefited children who would not have been able to Halloween anyways. However, I'm glad that you redid the bill and redid the budget and are actually not screwing your own budget over, and you put in enough for the public. Slay to you guys. This is nothing like Safe Halloween, but slay anyways.
Okay, let's keep our debate points germane to the body of the bill.
I'm just putting it out there. This is, I just things to be known.
Debates. Raise your hand if you have debates. Okay.
No, he's just
Hello. Once again, correct.
Quiet down.
I'll wait. Thank you. I can only speak but so loud. Once again, correct me if I'm wrong. The bylaw that was just stated, 502.1.3, does not regard this bill, seeing as it says the ability to hold an office. Correct me if I'm wrong. This is not an office. This is them running money for catering. So when we are saying bylaws, please make sure they are accurate to what is on the floor. Thank you.
Point of personal privilege.
Yes, Senator Klein.
Just to clarify. Point of order, that's not a personal privilege. Yes, it is. To correct the record. You're clarifying, not correcting the record.
Is that a point of order then? Is your just correcting to a point of order?
No, my point. I have a point of personal privilege.
Oh my God! Just say it. Somebody just say something. Guys, can we keep the side conversations down, please?
My point of personal privilege just relates to the statement of that bylaw. It's student membership, participations, or the ability to hold an office in any organization or activity. So it would include activities hosted by the organization where a non-student activity fee-paying member would not be permitted.
Okay, I don't want to have a bylaw match on the floor right here tonight. Can we argue the merits of this bill? What? I don't know. So, I can't really help that if Gideon's not here. I don't know.
Are you forgetting about me?
Senator Gray.
Okay, serious question. What's like really the issue? Because we've always given money to other student groups, so I don't see why we can't give money to them today. Especially since last week we addressed our concerns for them to fix, and they came back and fixed it. So what's the issue this week?
Can I make a motion?
Wait.
Oh, you give it to me when I'm chewing. Okay.
I have a question. Given previous conversations that happened in this body, is there anything in place so that all members of your fraternity feel safe attending this event? What? You said absolutely, so what's in place? Like,
Clarify what you mean.
as per like Senate bylaws, I don't think I can. But in terms of like previous situations that have happened within your org, is there something being done so that everyone has an equitable experience at this event?
Fortunately, any experiences that you're talking about do not happen at an actual org event.
Point of order.
Which point of order?
I don't think this question relates to the bill, so I'm gonna ask that the president rescind it.
I'm just saying, it does because we're paying for people's event.
It's a point of order. I agree with Senator Rose's point of order. Suspend that line of questioning. It's not germane to this merits of the bill. Any further debate? Any moves? Senator Klein.
Call the question.
Move to call the question. Is there a second? Second by Senator Zhang. Any objection? All right, I see none. The vote is open. Wait, before I open it. A is that you want to approve this. B is that you don't. And C is abstain. The vote will stay open for 45 seconds.
Have a good night, friend. Good night.
Eight.
No, your A is for yes.
All right, the vote will be closing in 3, 2, 1. $18 ayes, 2 nays, 8 abstentions. This bill passes. Thank you.
Yes, I'm literally lost.
All right, we're going to start our audit review. We're stuck in the
You can just stand.
Okay.
Oh, that like her mom child comes up. I'm about to cry.
Guys, refocus.
We take a 2-minute recess.
No.
Could we? Yeah, can we please? What's left? I don't know. Big change in the room.
Good evening. So I'm Brian Kearns with UHY, the audit firm for the Student Association. Just here to report the results of the current year audit, and just to make sure everyone's clear that the year ended June 30th, 2022. So, again, it's the financial results are as of last year. So as an auditor, we are hired to form an opinion. We're the independent of the Student Association, okay? These financial statements are your financial statements. They're your responsibility. The auditor just opines on them. So that audit opinion, in terminology, what you want to see is, if it's a clean opinion, it's called an unmodified opinion, okay? And that's the highest level of assurance that you can receive that the financial statements being presented are free of material misstatement in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. Okay? So again, that's what you want to see, and that is the opinion you will be receiving once approved by the Senate, by management. We'll be issuing this in finality. So in years past, it's not always that highest level of assurance. So one year you had a disclaimer of opinion, for example, where we were not able to obtain certain support for expenditures, where we couldn't opine on the financial statement and had to disclaim an opinion. So again, it's positive news that you do have a clean opinion. From a statement of net position, as you can see, your fund balance is at the end of the year, it's $3.2 million. And you have a really strong balance sheet. Okay, just want to make sure everyone in this room realizes that in 2016, your fund balance was only 1.2 million. It has gone from 1.2 million to 3.2 million over that short period of time. Okay, so and most of that was during the pandemic, where you charged that student activity fee as a mandatory fee, but you didn't have the same expenses up to that budget. So you were able in 2019 raise from 1.9 million to 2.7. And then in 21 it went from 2.7 to 3.5. In the current year, the statement of activities, you had activity fees of 2.5 million, but expenses of 2.7. So you had expenditures in excess of that student activity fee. So again, the previous fees, if you will, from years past were being spent in the current year. And my understanding from talking with management is the current year that you're operating under is under a budget as well to spend in excess of those current year fees to spend down that budget. But I think, you just can't continue that, obviously, forever. And so when it comes time for budget time in the future. But again, this current year, very, very strong, because even though your net assets decreased by $335,000, that was, of that $335,000, $94,000 was investment activity. So again, that includes the contribution from the Student Association to DIPY-KIL of $270,000. Okay, so again, a very, very strong year, and you continue to have a healthy fund balance. In terms of the actual audit, the procedure, we do a risk-based audit approach. We do significant amount of sampling of expenditures, and if you had any material weaknesses or what we call significant deficiencies, we'd be required to report those to you in writing. In the past, you've had some years ago, but this was, again, a clean audit. You did not have any that rose to that level. So again, you don't have that, no disagreements with management. Again, we're independent of the association, and all adjustments. There were a few adjustments at year end, approximately 6 of them, some very minor, that were recorded from the time we received the trial balance from your custodian with UAS that assists with your bookkeeping until we see the financials in front of us. But everything's been recorded in the financial statements that you see in front of you. All right, any questions in terms of the audit approach or the financial results?
How much would you say we have in reserves right now?
So again, the terminology, if you will, and I'm very careful to make sure right now, you say right now, when is that? You know, this is as of June of last year. So I haven't, again, I defer to the comptroller or to Randy at UAS in terms of a more current date if you were speaking. But your net position as of June of 2022 was $3.2 million. But again, just realize that some of that is in non-cash or non-liquid assets in terms of furniture and equipment, net of depreciation, prepaid expenses, but you did have cash of $2.3 million and investments of $740,000 in terms of liquid availability. Once you pay off your liabilities of accounts payable, you certainly have a very healthy fund balance as of last year. I don't know what your expenses in the current academic year were compared to the activity revenue.
Any other questions?
Would you say there's any situation feasible with that 2.3 cash reserve balance that would be possible for this association to have spent it all by now?
Well, how much was your budget in the current academic year?
3.7.
3.7?
Yes.
And if student population, do you know what was the activity fee in the current year?
2.4.
2.4, so you spent about 1.3 of it. And brings you back down to historical trends of between 1.5 and 2 million. So not all of it, but back to where you began pre-pandemic possibly.
Senator Rose.
This isn't a question, more of a thank you.
Sure.
Appreciate it.
Thank you guys. I asked myself, but we're right across the street, by the way, in Stuyvesant Plaza. Any accounting students, please reach out. But I always enjoy, it's nice to be back in person. Any other questions related to the audit?
I have one question. Sure. Okay. Just trying to, because he can't technically speak. Sorry, go ahead.
So I mentioned, so when I was speaking of your fund balance, that was all student association side, so none of it was referring to Dippy-Pill. Dippy-Pill's the other column. Their fund balance at the end of the year was $1.5 million, but again, let me just show you Dippy-Pill's balance sheet or statement of net position. So as you see, they had cash of approximately $200,000, and all of their net position is in infrastructure of buildings, equipment, property. So they really rely on the student association's contribution on an annual basis. Because the rental income of Dibbykill on an annual basis last year, they had expenses, salaries and other of over $400,000, and that equaled the revenue. So the second column over, right? You had $423,000 in revenue, but of that, $270,000 was really just a transfer from the student association to Dibbykill. And you had expenses of $494, is it? So again, the rental revenue from Dibbykill does not cover the expenses without the allocation from the association.
Senator Klein. Or,
sorry, I have a follow-up.
Sure.
Okay. What is the current valuation of Dibbykill?
We don't. So generally accepted accounting principles record for non-for-profits recorded at historical cost, and so it's depreciated over its useful life. So you wouldn't have. It's not like investments where it's carried at market value, because you're not actively marketing and you're utilizing it for students and alumni use.
Senator Klein.
Would you say that Dibbykill, the way it's currently funded and formatted, would be detrimental to our fiscal health?
Can you be honest?
Honestly, I don't really have a strong opinion of that. I mean, I think as an organization, what you're utilizing Dibbykill for, it's a combined financial statement and that utilization of that property and the carrying costs of it, what is it truly utilized for? The student population, alumni, etc. I mean, is there a way to contain, the costs up there? You can obviously dissect that $433,000 of what you're spending it on, when you approve that annual contribution. Is there any way to raise revenue, raise the fees of the actual people utilizing it? That could be, again, looked into in terms of, that budget analysis of their revenue versus expenses.
Further questions? Senator Jamil.
So just to clarify, in this current audit, do you have the value of Dibbykill listed anywhere independently? Not as a part of something else.
Again, you say value. Are you referring to market value, or are you referring to cost? Cost is that the Dibbykill column is Dibbykill. So there's the revenue expenses, and then the actual assets and liabilities that they hold are right here. It's the property and equipment that is up there at the historical cost.
Any further questions?
I appreciate it. Have a good night.
Thank you, Senator. All right. We're going to move on now to Nathan.
Good evening, everyone. There's still opportunities to sign up for conversations with Dr. Christakis, Vice President of Student Affairs. Just visit the source of my involvement and you can sign up for that. Any questions?
That's it. Any questions for Nathan? All right. I don't see any. So we're going to move on to Catherine.
All right, so for my report, I wanted to give you all the final candidate numbers. The candidates are aware of these. I did send them out. They were a little later than I anticipated, and that's because I was waiting for a few candidates to make sure that we hit that candidate meeting, and I needed some eligibility checks to come through. So we have, this year we have 2 presidential tickets. For Applied and Natural Science Division, we have 2 candidates. For Business and Management, we have 2. For Humanities, we have 1. For Law and Government, we have 2. For Social Science, we have 3. Senator at Large, 13.
And for SUNY Assembly representatives, it's 7. So it is a lot less than last year, but there's some great candidates out there. Next on the election agenda is the Presidential and Vice Presidential Forum, which is next Wednesday from 7 p.m. Please make sure you come along, show your support for the candidates, but most importantly, make your voice heard. This is an opportunity for you to ask questions and engage with candidates, so you should all try to make every effort to be there. And then finally, I wanted to give a reminder about campaigning for the student activity fee. So anyone can campaign for or against the student activity fee. But I do want to remind you all about campaigning rules, that we're to be courteous, respectful, and mindful in your efforts to campaign either way. What I want to clarify as well is that SA leaders have been very transparent in their efforts to campaign for this, which I personally have appreciated because I was able to provide my own guidelines to candidates during candidates meeting, for those particularly that are already in SA and navigating that difficult area there. And in addition, I will say that thus far this has been a very well coordinated effort that all SA leaders have tried to draw attention to, especially if we were to compare this with other recent referendums, like last year's constitutional convention was far less coordinated in campaigning than this issue activity fee. So, we're seeing social media engagement, tabling opportunities, which as a campaign nerd like myself, I do love to see. So please just make sure you get involved. There's opportunities out there if you want to, so make sure that you do. And so, like I say, you have every right to campaign for or against. Just take the opportunity to do so. And that's everything for me.
Are there any questions for Catherine? Yes, Senator Klein.
So I'm gonna move to put executive reports ahead of student reports.
There's been a move to move the executive report to student reports for a second. Senator Cooper's our second. Are there any objections? All right, seeing none, the executive reports will go above committee reports. So, Madam President, you're up.
Oh my. Oh. Hello guys. I hope you all have had a lovely week since the last time. Since the last time we were together. I've been working on a few things this week so far. I'm sorry, I need to open my email because that was part of it. Firstly, I had a lot of meetings today, so I haven't really gotten a chance to, but I know last week the topic of conversation for my report was RSSW. I apologize, the deadline for that did pass, but guys, hey, everyone, it's looking up. I collaborated with the registrar's office, so if you appeal, I'm gonna send you about this. If you appeal before the 7th of next month, and you can get the 8-week-1 credit still. So I encourage all of you to do that because you'll all be eligible. It's the 36 hours. Sorry. We're also doing some more stuff for oversight of Tippy Bill. So I'll be in charge of that, having an investigation. I'm sorry, I wasn't really prepared to talk right now. There's probably some things I'm forgetting. But I'm gonna go with, that's it.
All right, are there any questions? Senator Crawford.
What month? April 7th?
I'm literally gonna email you, it told me to read, but I'm gonna email you. It's 4/7. And the email that you'll have to send it to is latereg@albany.edu. I'm literally gonna email you in a few minutes, so you will have that.
All right, any other questions? Senator Klein, is that a question?
So what you're saying is we now only qualify for the 1
Can I say,
credit.
you always only qualified for 1 credit. There was a miscommunication between me and the office. She thought that I was trying to set something up for next semester, so she was just giving me all the possibilities because at this point, if you wanted to do next semester, you would still have all the possibilities. This will be very thoroughly covered in my transition budget. This was the first time that our president tried to do RSSW. Something fell through, but I hope next year we can get it together so that this can be done more smoothly.
All right, are there any other questions? All right, seeing none, Vice President's report? Oh, there's a question. Yes, Senator Archer.
You got a mic?
Okay, I'll just listen out loud. So it's like no way you can do 2 credit maybe, you just make up your work, even if you have to do the hours.
Because it's based on the timing of the semester, no. Like you would have needed more time left in the semester to do that.
To do what in
like if you're doing the 3 credit, they want you to have the entire semester to do it. If you're doing the 2 credit, that would be a separate deadline, and then, yeah.
But what if we have the hours for the 2 credits?
I know, I am very sorry, this is just a situation we're at, you can only get one at this point.
Senator Klein, has a question.
You could try and appeal for it though, you could try and include it in your appeal, and say that you've already done enough.
How long was the conversations with the university going on regarding getting us RSSW?
Well, this was something that the Office of Academic and Professional Affairs was working on last semester that I kind of picked up, but it was honestly kind of when I was working on other things, it could have been better. Yeah, moving forward, that'll like again, if this would have happened last semester, then this semester I would have done it perfectly, but this was just the first time. So I didn't know that there was like certain deadlines and certain requirements to that. Yeah.
So, in follow-up, in the spirit of that, will you be appointing a director of academic and professional affairs moving forward for the remainder of your term?
For the remainder of this semester?
Yes.
We only have 4 weeks left. I don't really know how impactful that would be at this point. But I'll consider, but like, I doubt anyone will be able to do anything impactful enough in the 3 weeks. Because by the time that they get hired, by the time everything's processed, like they'd have to wait until 2 meetings from now. So they'll basically just have 1 week left. There's really no point. In my opinion, at least. Are you seeing what I'm saying, like in terms of timing? Because we don't have a meeting next week. And then so they have to wait till that one.
Point of information, do we know how long that position has been vacant?
I do not, actually. That's not a piece of information that I have stored in my brain, so sorry. Does anybody else know?
Since the
Survey the room?
semester. Since the semester's starting.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, this semester.
Okay. Are there any other questions? Okay, then we can move on to the Vice President's report.
My report's long, I have been long, so bear with me. We had our DPCO budget meeting, which I think went pretty well. We plan on setting up a general board meeting to share the proposed budget and vote on it before we present it to the Senate, which I will be doing soon, so be on the lookout for that after I talk to the chair and the vice chair. I'm really pushing right now that if I put this budget out on the floor, students get to go to DPCO for free. So I'm hoping that gets passed within our board because we pay for the student activity fee. And when people sign up to actually go to DPCO, it's only less than 10% of students that actually go there. So students are basically paying to not have that accessible to them, which I think is a massive issue. And the budget is not really changing, it's about staying the same. So if we're doing a lot of cuts, we have to at least allow some leeway for students to actually have access to that. The Department of Programming and myself had our discussion roundtable, which was a success, so thank you to all that showed up. We spoke about the reform needed for Women's History Month to be more impactful for minority groups, so that was a great conversation. UAlbany Bound posted a video today about the Student Association with a goal to get incoming first-year students involved on campus with a voiceover by yours truly. Hopefully we get some new faces in this org next year with new ideas on how we can advocate for students on campus. I'm working on still getting the concert together. The artist denied the flyer that marketing made, so we can't put that out yet. But once I get all the approval, everything will be going out ASAP. IT has finished the codes. For students to purchase tickets, student activity fee members will only be paying $15 for their tickets. And everything's all set to go this week, so once the flyer drops, tickets will be good to go, so we're all good with that. I'm looking to get a few smaller artists with the remainder of the budget. It's just hard because everybody's also playing their own concerts. And it's like less than a month away. I'm also reaching out to student photographers and student artists about coming to the concert and sharing their talent with the rest of the university, and the same goes for student businesses, so if you know anybody that's willing to gift the artists some of their pieces, please let me know and just give me their contact information. And yeah, I started one-on-one meetings with directors to discuss transitional binders and what resources I can provide to help the department finish up the year strong. I still have more meetings to set up with directors that don't have the same office hours, so those will take place next week. I've been working with Chair Velez Galan to put together the referendum games, which went out a few days ago. So if you're a part of a student organization, I highly recommend you guys get involved to promote the student activity fee. And I've also been helping marketing with some flyers for the campaign and all the tabling that's going on. The tabling sign-up sheet was sent to everybody. So if you have some free time, come between 12 to 4 and just get out there and talk to some students about the fee. And then, as President Walker mentioned, we are starting an internal investigation at Tippecanoe based on an email I received this past week. And for the rest of the updates about that, I'll just let President Walker announce those from now on for the rest of our meetings, just because she is the one leading the investigation. And that's it.
All right, cool. Any questions for the Vice President? Senator Klein.
How do you plan to formulate the Tippecanoe budget to make it free for students if we're already running Tippecanoe at a deficit?
So as I mentioned in my report, the amount of people that book that are students is less than 10%. We're already at a deficit because of alumni, faculty, and staff. The small percentages of students, I'd rather you go for free and we're still at a deficit than you having to pay thousands of dollars to get up there with your organization and we're still at a deficit. We're gonna be at a deficit regardless. Let's get students up there while we can and while we still have the means to fund this, and let's get people to experience that.
So follow up, wouldn't funding Tippecanoe just come out of the same money that we receive for the student activity fee? So I really don't understand how this plan can be fiscally responsible if we're already running at a deficit. We're gonna incur a further deficit with this.
So when we give out money for student organizations to mark in their budgets for going to Tippecanoe, that's money taken from the student association to go into student organizations to go back into the student association. We're just cycling around money. That's not profit we're making, so that doesn't impact our deficit. The money's just going right back into the student association. Does that make sense?
Senator Rose.
It's not a question, more like an answer.
Go for it.
So yeah, exactly like that. Like we could just not tell students to ask for Tippecanoe money, then we take that Tippecanoe money and use it for Tippecanoe. Like they just go for free now. I mean, they already go.
Technically, realistically, nobody's going for free because you're still paying the fee, but you're not paying the $1,000 to stay at a lodge that you already paid for to be built and to be put together. Does that make sense?
If a student group asks for $2,000 for Tippecanoe, they wouldn't get it in their budget. That $2,000 would be taken from us.
Why are we allocating thousands of dollars in a budget for students to go when they already paid a fee for that thing to be up and running, just for faculty, alumni, and staff to have access to that? It just doesn't.
They're paying twice essentially.
I actually have a question about that. Is that then free just for student groups, or if, like, does it have to be within a student group, or can individual students in the group go for free?
Yeah, so once again, we haven't had the meeting yet, so I haven't put any thing fully together yet, but that's something that I'm trying to advocate for. I would eventually like to get to a point where we can have that. It's just that a lot of the time student orgs have the funding for buses and things along those lines, so that it would probably be easier for them to go there at first, but I would eventually love to get to a point where the student association funds for transportation to get up there a few times during the year.
Any other questions? Okay, then we can move on to the Chief of Staff's report. Pass it around, girl. You got it.
Good evening, everyone. This week, yesterday's executive branch meeting was canceled instead to support Andrew, our director of civic action. He had a program on the basis of sex. It was a movie night in the Women's Resource Center. And also Sierra's program, Redefining Women's History Month, which was amazing. We had a great turnout. We were able to have a thorough conversation about what it means to be a woman in today's society and particular theories that influence the way we are taught and thus the way Women's History Month is portrayed. Starting this week and continuing into next week, Sierra and I will be meeting one-on-one with directors concerning their transitional binders, updates within their department, and the essay activity fee campaign. I was also able to meet with the director of Tippecanoe concerning mud season and the alternative event that will be taking place instead of Dippy Fest. More details can be found at the @ulb.sa page on Instagram. And our next executive branch meeting is scheduled for April 11th at 7:30 p.m.
All right, are there any questions? Okay, then the executive assistant report.
Hi everyone. Okay, so I finally have access to the executive email, but please be advised that the email is spelled incorrectly, and if you need to reach me, it's SA Executive Assistant, and assistant is spelled without the third S. As President Walker mentioned earlier, we did speak to the registrar's office, and for those that did not register for the RSSW before the due date, will have to submit an appeal to the registrar's office, as they're also closely working with the CPSP office. I highly encourage seniors to submit that appeal, as I do know that if you would not be able to graduate without those credits either.
All right, any questions? seeing none, the Director of Academic and Professional Affairs. Wait, we don't have. Sorry, my bad. The Director of Civic Action.
Yep, so we had an event yesterday. We watched the film on the basis of sex, which went really well. In terms of upcoming events, Department of Civic Action does have a partnered event with the Department of Disability Services. I'll let Sheila tell you more about that later, our representative. Other than that, we'll be working with the UAlbany Elections Commission on the reveal for whoever wins the SA elections. Just for you guys to know, the Department of Civic Action will be posting this either later tonight or tomorrow. We're going to be doing a raffle lucky draw for people who just vote for the presidential elections. As long as you vote and you post that you voted on your story, we'll verify that with my involvement and your story. You have a chance to win a pair of Beats Studio 3 wireless headphones. This is open to anyone on campus as long as you vote and we verify your name and that you voted in my involvement. You have a chance to win that, which we'll be lucky drawing off at the April 14th event when we reveal the winners. Other than that, please let people that you know about this. Don't gatekeep this information because that would increase your chances. Other than that, there's nothing else for my department.
Okay, any questions? Seeing none, the Director of Communications.
Hi guys, I'm Sydney, Juliet's Associate Director. I'm Juliet. Our department just finished our WCDB training show program today. It happened in CC 316, which is also where the radio station is located. The next Student Association newsletter releases on Monday. Our department is working on 2 programs for the next month. Stay tuned. And email Julia if you want to communicate anything to the student body. The email is sacommunications@albany.edu.
All right, are there any questions?
I have a question.
Yes,
And
sir.
it's not much of a question, but could you relate to Julia? Because I keep forgetting that her TikToks or the reels that she's doing on Instagram are hilarious, and I love all of them, and I like and comment on all of them. So if you haven't watched those, go watch those. She's interviewing WCDB or something like that. Yeah. Very, very funny.
All right, the Director of Community Engagement and Outreach.
That'd be good.
Oh, whoops, my bad again. We should take that off the agenda, to be honest. Well, it's going to. Say something right now.
I
Director of
move
Diffie
to remove academic and community. Blah, blah.
Good evening, everybody. So a couple of exciting things to talk about for DippyKill this evening. Got a lot going on. So big event happening Friday, 7 o'clock. Get a group of 7 or more friends or an organization you want to come and compete for a free stay at DippyKill on April 8th. Any group of 7 more, only undergraduate student activity fee paying students can join. This will be a 3-phase competition. Each group of 7 will provide 1 member representative for each phase of the competition. Additionally, in additional information, DippyKill is now going to become a carbon institution. We just got the contract back and have our lawyer looking at it right now. This will bring in a cash flow for DippyKill. We're going to get $250 an acre because it's deeply forested territory, and we worked it out with them. We got about 954 acres of territory, so we will be getting paid from that.
Are there any questions? I have a question actually. Oh, you want to go first? Go for it.
So essentially, it's like a financial institution, like a bank, but instead of money, you put in carbon credits. So that's credits for the carbon sequestration taking place at DippyKill. As a large biosphere and forest that we actually manage, it takes in a decent amount of carbon from the atmosphere, and because of that, this isn't carbon that's contributing to the greenhouse effect, which is leading to the warming of our planet.
Okay, I actually have a question. Regarding the competition to go to DippyKill, are student association officers, like people in this room, eligible to compete?
If I've told you anything about it before or you're helping me run it, then no. If not, then you're good.
Okay. Okay, any other questions? Oh, yes.
Does it just have to be a student organization? Can it just be like a regular group of friends?
It can be any 7 human beings who are undergraduates at UAlbany.
Okay, are there any other questions? All right, then.
It's Friday, this Friday, at 7 o'clock at the SA office, Campus Center B84.
Okay.
That's all.
If there are no other questions, we can move on to the Director of Community Services.
Okay, hi, happy Wednesday.
toolkit right now with our learning from the Lower Fair's office. Well, not our Fair's, but our office. My intern, Gudria, is now my associate director. And we have, and she's also taking a lot of responsibility this week, which I love, and I'm really thankful. We have a program coming up the 4th, which will be the next event. It's going to be How Well Do You Know Your Rights? We're going over clauses and disability rights, and also how to navigate the system at the university, which is how I ran into that pickle earlier, which we'll talk about later. That's going to be April 4th at 7 p.m. and Fine Arts 126. We also will be collaborating with Women in Law. So yeah, let's clap it up for Women in Law.
It's Women's History Month, not enough.
Now I can hear you. Okay. Coming up, we also have a program with SLU, which is a Latina sorority, and they will be doing a program on how to study, different studying approaches for different learning techniques. As well as this new program, which I've already been fired and pushed the place, but I forgot to do the proposal, so I don't know if it's going to be real, but it's called Neurodivergent, and we're going to do a screening of Divergent, and then afterwards have a discussion on if we see any intersectionality between the two, which will be really fun. And that'll be the 17th. So yeah, thank you.
Are there any questions? Senator Rose, what's your question?
It'll be the 17th where?
MRC. Oh yeah, and our toolkit, I don't know if I mentioned, but the toolkit will be released. We sent all the sources to our Lenny. So yeah, fun.
Any other questions? Senator Miller, what's your question?
Shayla, could you go into a little bit more detail about the issue you were bringing up earlier in the meeting, the campus climate thing?
So right now it's Department of Civic Action Meet, and we reached out to Women in Law Association. So we are covering different topics, and I was going to leave it up to Willa to kind of decide, well not decide, but kind of explain to everyone how we're going to navigate the system at UAlbany itself. So then I went to the office that we have behind the WRC, just because I figured, hey, what better way to learn how to navigate the system if we do need to have legal services than a lawyer. And then when I spoke to him, he told me that he doesn't specialize in it, and in order for someone to go and get a lawyer, they have to specialize in that, and he couldn't do anything about it. He said he could find resources for it, but you know, I just thought they would be readily accessible.
So is this about like ADA compliance, or like what's the specific?
It's just in general. So we were going to cover accessibility as well as compliance in our presentation, as well as discrimination and harassment. And then we were kind of just going to discuss how you would navigate the system in each of these situations. And because, okay, DAIS, I don't know if you guys know DAIS, but DAIS honestly like works with the students to help with accommodations. So if you go to DAIS for legal issues and you feel like you're getting harassed, or you feel like your professors, because it happens a lot, professors don't abide by accommodations and people have to suffer for it. So when you get yourself in these situations, there's no really to turn to, because you're going to go to DAIS and they're going to say, well, I wrote the letter, what else can I do? So I thought that it would be nice to have someone who's in the legal field to be there to help support students and help them navigate it, as well as just the simple fact that people already don't have enough support as it is. So I was a little upset, you know. Any other questions?
Okay, seeing none, we can move on to the Director of Gender and Sexual Services.
No.
How about that? Y'all hear me? I'm kind of under the speaker, so sorry if this ends up going very badly. But it's been a very busy week in the department. Our department doubled in size, so I'm going to let my new intern and associate director introduce themselves very briefly.
Hi, I'm Jaleesa. I'm a new intern at the Gender and Sexuality Services. I'm really excited to be coming up with some new activities to have some more inclusivity on campus, around queer students and LGBTQ students. And I'm an English major. I don't even know if I should be saying that, but I'm just really excited, and I'm hoping to collaborate with some of your departments. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm Jordan. I'm also excited to get started, and I second all of that. Thanks.
as our associate director. He made us a nice little flyer because we're going to start putting out a needs request form for trans students on campus as part of Trans Day of Visibility, which is the 31st. So we're going to have that open for a week. So send that to all your trans friends on campus. It's going to be about specifically ordering binders, hip padding, trans tape, other resources like that. But we do have an option for like just any general health needs, mental health needs, whatever. Like they can put some requests in there and we will try to meet those needs. It's only going to be open for a week because then we will do the distribution of that like pretty quickly. We're hoping April 20th at a free market. On top of that, what else do I want to talk about? Oh, I'm just super excited that the window markers I bought have been being used very frequently in the office. I'm glad that everyone's decorating their windows. Hope anyone who wants to decorate anything lets me know. Feel free to use them. Please put them back if you do use them, which hasn't been an issue. So thank you guys for respecting that. Our Toxic Masculinity in Media and On-Campus event with Intercultural Affairs will be Thursday the 6th in Humanities 133. So come to that. It's going to be super good and fun. On April 27th, also on the 20th, during our tabling, we're going to be compiling information about the anti-trans healthcare bills that are being passed across the country. And on April 27th, we will be having tea and cookies with a local queer elders event in the GSRC. So if you want to come meet some queer elders from the area, that's going to be super cute and fun. And a few Tuesdays from now, I'm going to be meeting with Joyce DeWitt Parker, the Vice President of Student Affairs on campus, about the queer student health concerns that have been arising on campus. And I have a question for people in the room, just because I feel like the answer will be here. People from the Women's Gender Sexuality Department were wondering if my department can sponsor a field trip to Stonewall Memorial Park. Is that something I can do with my budget? I think I can do whatever with my budget, right? If I want to do that, I can give them money to go on a field trip. I think they're opening it up, but then I would have to pay more money, so then I might just be like, I can cover some fees, but not all of them.
I would just say that,
we'll see what happens. I'll see what their capacity for growth is, because I think what I'll end up doing, because they want a bus. So I'm like, if you have a bus, you can try to fill the bus, and then all the other things, like, people can cover themselves, because the bus is going to be fixed anyway. So yeah. Right. Any questions? I don't know if I'm supposed to ask that.
No, you're good. Any questions? No questions? Okay, then the director, okay, I saw a little half. Okay, then the director of health and sustainability.
No,
Yes, that's. There's a move to put the report for intercultural affairs above health and sustainability. Is there a second to that move? I see a second. Is there an objection? Then objection. Oh, okay. So then the intercultural affairs director will give their report first.
Hello everyone, sorry. So I have my Women of Color in Medicine program this week, as well as a women's month tabling. I've been curating a custom menu for the Puerto Carnival with Sedesco and local restaurants. This should be finalized by the 15th of April. Our main goal is to have a diverse range of authentic dishes. Me and Student Activities will be doing a walkthrough in the next few weeks. I'm still accepting tabling and performance signups till April 11th, so please fill it out if you're willing to participate. Like the Gender and Sexuality Director said, we are having a program called Toxic Masculinity on April 6th, so come out. And I've been working with my interns to close out the month of April with a week of programming towards culture markets.
All right, are there any questions? Seeing none, the Director of Health and Sustainability.
So great. Hi guys. So I have I have a program a week from Friday. It's called Drop and Swap. If anybody in this room likes free stuff, I would love for you to raise your hands. Woohoo! Okay, if any of you like donating stuff to people in need, I would also like you to raise your hands. Public shaming moment. Great. Okay. If you know you're a bad person. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, Drop and Swap. It's going to be a big event in the ballroom. Everybody bring donations. You can bring clothes, dorm supplies, decorations, food supplies, etc. And everybody else will bring them as well. There'll be a big swap.
Point of order. Yes, I just came. All right, can we just quiet down a bit?
Thank you. So if anybody would like to come to that, it's a completely free event. It's happening in the Campus Center Ballroom from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. We're going to try and cut it off right at 3, though, unfortunately, because there's another event in the ballroom and I have to give it up. So please get there early if you'd like to get some of the good stuff. I know some people are already excited about some things I have in the back closet. I have been collecting donations, so if you can't make it to the event, but you would still like to get rid of some stuff, feel free to either come to that, or I know that Mutual Aid has been tabling a lot, and they are also coming to this event to bring their tabling supplies as well. So if you want to give it to them, they will bring it. You can get it to us in a variety of ways. And then if you want free stuff, please come, please promo. The flyer has officially dropped, so please support that. We also have Earth Day week happening in the next few weeks. I like the excitement, that was cute. Instead of just Earth Day, we're doing Earth Week. It's a full week of events per the name. It's pretty self-explanatory. Monday, we have, sorry, I got really distracted. Monday, we have a campus cleanup happening. We're meeting at Collins Circle at 4:30. That's hosted by myself and the Director of Communications. Tuesday, we have an author coming, sponsored by the university. It'll be in the auditorium under Campus Center West over on this side. He's supposed to have a really good talk about basically how climate change, how racial injustice in relation to climate change got to the point of where it is right now. Basically, environmental racism and discrimination, how we got to the point where we are so bad right now, where communities are being harmed so thoroughly and openly and blatantly without anybody making it illegal. Wednesday, I'm encouraging the student body to actually come to Senate, sorry y'all, so that they can come participate, see what y'all do, but also to do a little, public comment, campus climate moment about sustainability on campus. Basically, I'm just trying to get more people to come to Senate, be involved with y'all, especially with election season happening. And also, I would like to hear their voices, and I don't have a good way to do that just from my office, so I'm inviting them here. No, you're all good. Thursday, we are doing a tabling event at the Go Desk. We're building a mural, so everybody can come and write why sustainability matters to them, what they care about with the earth and the environment on a butterfly, and then we're putting the butterflies onto the glass on my panel of the wall, which is currently decorated. If you've seen it, thank you. It's very cute. So we're going to be building a giant butterfly mural with those. So come by the Go Desk that day. A couple other directors have volunteered to help. So you might see myself, you might see Keon, you might see Julia. We'll all be down there. And then Friday, Democracy Matters is hosting a climate rally outside of the small fountain. We are supporting that as well. If you want to come, there's going to be some great speakers and speeches. And also, if you just have some things you want to voice, go right ahead, show up. They're going to be hosting a great rally they did last year, so we're excited for that. And then actual Earth Day is unfortunately over the weekend, and so I can't host any official events, but I encourage all of you to go out, take a hot girl walk, do some mental health, enjoy this beautiful planet, and enjoy your weekend before, final season comes up. After that, we are looking to host Spring into Sustainability, which is going to be a self-care mental health event located in the Bean. We have not yet selected a date for that because booking has been a little bit of an issue, but a couple of senators have reached out to volunteer, so thank you. And I will be reaching out for more information once we get that book and the flyer dropped. And for now, that's it for me, I think. Oh, I'm so sorry. Can I take it back real quick? I forgot. I also had a meeting this week with the university. I completely forgot about it. I was so excited to tell you guys, and then I just forgot completely. The menstrual product dispensers. I've won. We have finally gotten some solid progress. I met with Dr. DeWitt Parker, first of all. She's wonderful. If any of you ever meet this woman in person, chef's kiss. She's a beautiful woman and is so helpful. I just love her. I also met with the new vice president for facilities named Zach Newcomberg or something. He's very, very nice and very knowledgeable. He comes from SUNY Plattsburgh and is a great dude. And also with the new director of health, or associate director for health promotion, Natalie. They are all lovely people, lovely resources if you ever need them. Long story short, We're getting 2 dispensers, the official giant like silver ones, installed in the LCs in the 2 women's restrooms. And then we are getting clear acrylic dispensers that are gonna be a little more affordable and unfortunately a little bit smaller. But it's gonna fit better with the budget and simply like the design of the wall in the men's restrooms. I also spoke with them about advocating for gender neutral bathrooms in LCs because I was like, guys, it's unacceptable that our only option is to fill every single gendered bathroom with these rather than doing gender neutral ones. And they have committed to moving forward with a roadmap and a like multi-step year plan. Unfortunately, yes, I know years out, but it's progress. To get gender neutral bathrooms in every building on campus, but specifically the LCs, which need them the most at the moment. Yes, thank you. And then we have also gotten facilities to agree to start taking steps to take over filling the dispensers in the campus center. That way I can expand them into campus center east rather than just campus center west. So by the end of the year, we should have 2 full dispensers in the women's restroom in the LCs, 2 acrylic dispensers in the men's restrooms in the LCs, dispensers in all gender neutral bathrooms in the CC, and dispensers in all women's restrooms in the CC. And then I am still looking to do condom dispensers across the residence halls and menstrual product dispensers across the residence halls. That one has just been like a bigger beast. But if anybody has any ideas or wants to work with me on that, I am so open to it. But I'm super, super excited. We are getting there, we're getting progress, and I thank you guys for your patience and support with that.
I just want to confirm, you're inviting students to Senate, but we don't have Senate this next Wednesday. So I just want to confirm that it's the following Wednesday.
I meant like your next meeting.
Okay,
It's the week of Earth Day week, and it's not the presidential debate, it's the following one.
Okay. Are there any questions? Senator Rose.
One, thank you for all of your hard work. How you do within 10 office hours a week, thank you. Second, a couple weeks ago we passed a resolution calling for the university to move away from the plastic. Has there been any progress on that?
Yes, so we had a meeting with the university. Basically, we drafted like very simple instructions for President Rodriguez that was like, here's what this resolution means, here's how the university could take steps forward with it. Our vendors on campus don't like the idea of getting rid of all plastic, right? That's money for them, they're pissed, they don't like it. Valid, right? I mean, not valid, but valid, capitalism. So what we're working to do is move towards more like aluminum and glass in these different areas. The president has agreed now that there's support to work on signing this resolution or this like pledge, which is a university-wide pledge. Again, progress is slow. I'm going to be so honest with you guys. In your time in Senate and before I graduate, we are likely not going to see a completely plastic-free campus. However, I guarantee I'm not going to give up until we see significant progress on campus. We're not letting them get away with just signing it and moving on. So yes, we have gotten this information to the president. He is supportive. The administration is like, yeah, we're down. It's mostly the vendors who are like, hey, all of our products from Pepsi and cola or whatever come in plastic, and also the food vending machines are really hard because there's no way to get like, you know, gummy worms not in a like plastic bag, cellophane, that sort of thing. So it is in progress. It's gonna be slow, and I apologize for that, but it's progress nonetheless.
Progress starts somewhere.
Yes, progress always starts somewhere. So thank you guys for your support with that and passing that. That was really, really great for our department as a whole.
Okay, are there any other questions? Senator Klein.
Yes, so really quickly, last year I passed a bill calling for us to become a signatory to the United Nations Framework Convention for Climate Change, Climate Neutral Now initiative. 2 parts. Are we going to sign on to that, and will you encourage the university to sign on to that as well?
Okay. Answer your first question, very honest. I can't make us sign that, right? Guaranteed. However, if you send me more information on that, I guarantee I will bring it to whoever I need to bark up the right tree. I just need a good solid email, preferably to my business email rather than my personal, not my business, but like my department email rather than my personal. But yeah, I am more than happy to verbally and publicly commit to advocating for this. I think you guys will find very quickly that there are very few things that I will not yell at the university for when it comes to health and sustainability. So send it my way and I will get it there, I promise. That is my job, so I'm here for y'all.
All right, are there any other questions? Okay, then we can move on to the Director of IT.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I recently hired a new intern. He was here not too long ago, but he had RSSW to complete. Still working on the computers in the office so they can print for all students and not just one. I did update the judicial branch. Now you can see past justices from 2018 moving forward. We do have some new equipment, such as an iPad, tripod, charger. The Senate videos have been uploaded to YouTube, so be on the lookout for that at UAlbany Senate. I do have an upcoming program in April, so please stay tuned on SA Information Technology on IG. And just a friendly reminder that last day to drop classes with the W is April 3rd.
All right, are there any questions? Senator Rose.
You said that you're trying to get the computers that print for students. How about instead, can you work with me on like trying to get the university to get printing free for everybody instead? Because I know that President Rodriguez gets paid over $600,000 a year, but I know that it doesn't cost that much to get free printing. So would you rather work with the resolution to get that instead? Please? I'll do all the writing, you just gotta come with me to have the meetings.
Yeah.
Senator Klein.
I'm just gonna make a point of personal privilege. The near exact amount is $673,000 with a stipend for travel, car,
I need to clarify that point of personal privilege is, I can't hear, it's cold in here, can we close the window? Type. Okay. Maybe. I could be wrong. Are there any other questions? All right, then we can move on to the director.
Hello everyone, I'll be reading the lead report for tonight. Good evening everyone, hope all is well. Working on more flyers this week. Look to get all requested flyers posted tomorrow. My intern and I have been looking into new ways to interact with the student body through giveaways and such, so stay tuned for that.
Any questions? Seeing none, moving on to Director of Programs.
Hello everyone. So this week I started working as my associate director, collaborating with PCA and Planned Parenthood on our Sex Ed 101 event that will take place April 5th from 7:30 to 9. Our clothing drive with B2B and ASA started on Monday. We're collecting gently used clothing to donate to local charities and shelters, and the event is located in the SA office. Tomorrow is my Easter egg scavenger hunt programming board, so if you're free at 8, stop by the bean to have some fun. There are prizes and treats. For the month of April, me and my associate director are planning to have a midnight roller skating event. Theme is 90s in collaboration with ETC, Project Inspire, and PCA. And my suicide prevention program with the American Foundation will be on April 11th from 7:30 to 9. So stay tuned for that flyer as I'm collaborating with the Center of Leadership and on the Outness Darkness Walk on April 22nd. The link is on Engage to receive hours. Hope to see you all there. And my associate director is also planning a resume workshop as I am planning a paint and sip for the roller skating event.
Any questions? Seeing none, move on to Director of Student Group Affairs.
Hi everyone. So this week I've been working diligently to finalize plans for the football goal ceremony, which includes getting my invoice from Sodexo and Total Events. I also met with the comptroller to strategize on how I can budget for this year's ceremony, as prices for Sodexo have definitely went up, but my budget has stayed the same. We have also started reviewing the applications for Football and Gold, so I assigned people in leadership to different awards/scholarships and sent out an email consisting of guidelines for review, and Shannon has begun distributing the corresponding applications for review. Applications are still open if anyone does still want to apply. The deadline is this Friday, the 31st at 11:59. I just wanted to start review early to allow all the reviewers ample time to pick the winners. I also have been working with the Vice President to help facilitate the referendum games on Instagram, so I look forward to seeing all the student organizations participate. Make sure you guys like that post, and you owe me that message.
Any questions? Senator Zane.
I
just wanted to ask, when do we get notified when students need the award?
You said when you get notified? Okay, so our review process ends on April 7th. So I would say I'm gonna be sending out emails, even though my office hours are on Saturday. I will definitely make an effort to notify people the next day. So I would say the latest that you would receive an email is Monday, April 10th, of whether or not you received an award.
Any further questions? All right, seeing none, we're gonna move back up to our committee reports, starting with Senator Rhodes.
Hello, everybody. My report is my committee has a new meeting time, Saturday at 1 p.m. Don't ask me why they selected that time, but that's when it will be. There was only one sponsorship request. If that group uses all of their funds, that will leave $1,100 up in the sponsorship line. There is still money left in new and unfunded, so please tell student groups to apply before that goes with the end of the year. And we have one other new and unfunded request on the table in committee, but we're waiting on the group to tell us when they'll be coming to our committee meeting so that we can properly address any budget concerns. And other than that, I'm doing my Board of Finance stuff because there's not much to do in approach. So, yeah.
Any questions? Seeing none, moving on to Senator McGrath.
News. Okay, so I wanted to have the bill for junior ranking member on the agenda this week, but we did not. But Senator Velasquez is right now our active junior ranking member, so it's great for him, very exciting. Other than that, we have the community service bill back on here, which we discussed in executive committee. And we didn't pass it the rules, but I am personally satisfied. Just to let everyone know. But other than that, nothing else to report.
Any questions? Senator Klein.
I'm actually going to make a move here relating to that bill. I'm going to move it above the scholarship advertisement act.
All right, there's been a move to amend the agenda to have the community service requirement above the Scholarship Advertisement Act. Is there a second? Second by Senator Johnson. Any objections? Seeing none, so moved. Any questions for Chair McGrath? All right, moving on. Who comes up here? Sella? Jalen, pass that mic.
Hi everyone. I still have to organize my committee with my ranking member. That has been on me because I've been kind of doing this position mainly on my own with the support of the rest of exec and the chairs and stuff. So I'm very excited to actually have their support. By hopefully tomorrow, I will get back to it. If I don't, please yell at me. I just wanted to talk about, I have obviously the community service requirement bill on the floor. Very excited, made some changes, listened to all of your voices, and now it should be a little bit more slay. I would also like to remind every senator in this room to sign up for student activity fee tabling. I know that there's been some concerns that this is not the most effective way to, get the word out there about the student activity fee. But I, number one, disagree, and even if I didn't disagree, it's better than nothing. And it's my duty to this body, and my duty as a senator, and my duty to the rest of this campus to be there. To be plugging the referendum games, because I think that's a very cutesy way to get people involved, and I sure want that trip to Dippy-Kill personally. And then I would also just ask, please, I'm going to reiterate myself, leadership and your executive committee are really trying our best to do everything at once. And we really need your support to sign up for tabling. It's been put in the group me. You can email myself, you can email Jalen and I to coordinate signing up. If you cannot, if you're like me and you cannot physically table, please reach out to see what else you can do, because there are other things that you can organize and do between not the hours 12 and 4, I believe. But I'm going to reiterate the importance that every single person in this room, it is your duty to come out and advocate for the student activity fee. So please do that. Thank you.
Any questions for Selwa? All right, I see none. We're gonna move on. Senator Art. That's that night.
Excuse me, I'm very tired and I have an exam tomorrow at 10:30, so I would like to get out of here. So my report for this week is just very brief. Me and my committee have met with 28 orgs so far for budget bill hearings. We definitely expect to be done by Friday. I can't name off the top of my head how many we have left, but I definitely believe it's under 10. Other than that, once appeals are done, I just want to work on the town hall that we need to have for this semester. So if you guys could start figuring out which days is best for you, your availability, and send it to me, that would really be nice. Other than that, that's it for me. If you have any questions about how my budget bills are going, or if you would like to attend, please just let me know. Don't just pop up. I really emphasize, please let me know. Other than that, that's it for me.
Any questions? All right, see none. Moving on to Senator Zhang.
Right now I'm just waiting for my confirmation. I booked a room in the LC for our first year experience town hall, and it's going to be next week on the Thursday, 7:30 to 9, and should be somewhere in the LC. And I'll get that room to you guys next week when I get my confirmation.
Any questions? All right, seeing none. Senator Jamil.
Hi everyone. So for my report, we have wrapped up complaint E701.3. We've officially wrapped that up. And the verdict that we came to is interesting. So it was a very difficult complaint to deal with. A lot of conflicting points of view that we got. But essentially what we decided is that we're not issuing a violation, but we will be issuing 2 informal sanctions. Now this sanction will have 2 parts. I'm not sure if I can reveal the details of these, so I'm planning on reaching out to Diddy, or if anybody knows if I can, because it wasn't really explicitly said in the bylaws.
I'm just gonna add on to this. There really isn't any precedent for what we're doing. We just decided that with this situation, this would be the best route for the community to take, and the bylaws do say that we can utilize past year's precedents or use our present-minded opinions. So this is a present-minded opinion, and this is what we're going to do.
I also did consult with the Chief Justice to get their, I guess, how they interpreted the bylaws, and this was a consensus that they thought was also, taking the right path, and it was the best compromise that we could come up with based on the situation that we were given. Now these are informal sanctions, meaning they can't be enforced, there's no violation attached to them, but nowhere in the bylaws does it say that we can't issue sanctions without a violation necessarily. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Any questions?
Can you speak to the informal sanction part? What does that specifically mean? Is it like a citation you're giving the person, a recommendation or something?
So it's not anything that's going, it's not like an ethical strike on their record. That would come with the violation, which is the part that we wanted to avoid, as we didn't see it fit to issue a strike on their record. But we did see it necessary.
Point of order. Which point of order?
It seems like some of this is kind of leaning into committee discussions under what I would assume be executive session. So I would just say that we caution what we're stating related to the investigation. unless we want to go into executive session and discuss this.
I don't believe I've mentioned anything that would necessarily be breaking confidentiality, but I appreciate the warning. Thank you. Any other questions? Or have I clarified your question, Jalen?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Vice President Madron.
Someone go first?
No, I called it.
So just to clarify, there's no I don't need the mic, I'm loud enough. So there's no premise on like handing out the sanction. If there is no premise based on the investigation, then why are we giving out a sanction to these individuals?
There's no premise to issue a violation, but we do believe that there is enough for us to at least issue a sanction that can be enforced, of course. I am more than willing to explain what exactly we are doing with that, but I'm just not sure if that's something I'm allowed to say, if anybody knows.
I don't think so, but I can't remember.
The point of the informal sanction is that we didn't feel like the situation granted enough evidence for us to put a strike on the individual that was mentioned in the record, but we did feel like there was some sort of course of action that needed to be taken in order to avoid a certain situation like this again, and just to give guidance to the individuals and maybe rectify some of the situation, if not all of it. That was the point of the informal sanction. We didn't want to put this on the record, but we felt like something still needed to be done.
As I mentioned earlier, this was a very complicated complaint, and we believe that this was the best conclusion we could come to.
Going forward with your report, I believe you can. I'm going to make that ruling now that you can go into details about the sanctions. Just keep, like Senator Rose said, if anything happens in the executive session, make sure it's not mentioned here unless we go into executive session here.
Okay.
Hold on. I just have a question then. I have a question that will resolve this.
You have a question?
Yes.
For me?
No, say that. Like, what in general is an informal sanction? Like, what gives some examples? Yeah, that's what I want.
This is a thing they're inventing, which is...
Okay, so...
I just, so you don't have to speak about this particular situation, but when you think of informal sanctions, like what's an example of an informal sanction?
Okay, so I can tell you the two parts of the sanction.
Yes, that's what I'm interested in.
That's what I wasn't sure if we could share or not. It'll be two parts. So the first part of it will be individual apologies to the parties involved, and I think that's as much as I'm going to say about that. Part two of it is going to be a meeting with the ethics committee as a whole, and all it's going to be is guidance moving forward from the ethics committee to avoid such a situation again.
Further questions? Senator Khan.
This might just be This might just be a clarifying question for, because I don't know how ethics works. Now that like the case is closed, we never have to look at this again. We never have to bring it in front of this body. We don't have to talk about it. We don't have to know about it. It's done, right?
Okay, so again, because this is an informal sanction, so instead of us going, if we were to go about the formal route, we would have to present a bill to the body proposing these, like a certain amount of sanctions against this person. In that formal sense, yeah. So we're not doing that, and then, so there's not gonna be a bill up for like debate. You're all really not gonna know like what the specifics of this case, so after like this meeting, I guess I don't believe we're gonna have to speak about it.
Okay.
Yeah,
I have a clarifying question first before we go. Is this an official committee action or is it a recommendation by the members? Like, is this something you're doing just due after a conclusion of the investigation, or is it an official action taken by the committee of ethics?
We have not done this previously as a committee, so I guess it is an official action being taken by us. We voted to conclude the investigation, voted no violation, and voted that we would be, I guess, I don't want to say enforcing these because they cannot be enforced, they are informal, but going through with these two sanctions. Yeah.
Can I ask my follow-up? Thank you.
So this not being a recommendation, this being the decisive action of the committee, can I ask a point of parliamentary inquiry first, and then my follow-up?
Sure, but you can see if I know the answer.
I think you would. We don't need to see, like, the body doesn't need to see an ethics violation for it to, like, conclude and have the sanctions put. Okay, cool. So this is, again, just a clarifying question. Both parties, I'm assuming, are, or however many parties or party, that was not me knowing things, that was just me speaking, know about the sanctions, are following the sanction, or do they not have to? What happens if they don't? And like, if they think that this is unfair, what do they do?
Okay, so they have not been informed yet, as this was voted on today, a couple hours ago. I do intend on reaching out to the involved parties and letting them know, in detail what that means. These are merely, I guess, suggestions that we will be making to the involved parties from the ethics committee. Because it is informal, we can't do anything to enforce it. So meaning if they don't take these suggestions, there's nothing that we really, we can't really do anything. But they're informal, and there's nothing in the bylaws that really outlines this process. So we are trying to go about it as procedurally as we can from the information we have. But yeah.
Further questions? Anything else? Okay, perfect. We can move on to Senator Crawford.
Okay, hello everyone. My committee met today at 6:30 to continue our investigations. If everything goes how I have scheduled it, which is a big if, both complaints should be concluded by next Senate meeting. And I just want to give a shout out to my committee because I did have to step down on one of my investigations, so they took charge, and I'm a little bit of a control freak, but I haven't really been too worried because they've been doing a great job. So shout out to them. And we're meeting Sunday at 4. If anyone wants to show up, I guess. Good. If you want to, it's public until we kick you out. But yeah, that's it.
Okay. Before we move on, any questions? Okay, before we move on, I have a move.
Okay, well,
Senator McGrath.
Senator Miller, what's your move?
I have a move to include the Dibukil accessibility resolution enactment on the agenda as emergency legislation.
I have previously reviewed this, and I will allow it on the agenda as emergency legislation. Yes, that's a second. Okay, beautiful. Any objections? Seeing none. Where is it, Bill?
It's in my email.
Okay, why don't you open your email so that
it's open.
Okay.
I'll find all of these emails. Can we get sent the bill? Also, is this?
I don't want to search through email, bro.
No, go to the thing and it'll show us every one of them.
No.
It's right here. I'll forward you the whole. This was requested by the director of Dibukil, and in their turn, I will be asking you guys. Okay.
Wait, where on the agenda is this going?
Number 3 in the legislative
Okay,
agenda.
this is going to be number 3.
But we're not there yet.
No, we're not. So we have the community service requirements bill. Okay, if the sponsors would like to come and present. Community service. It was moved. It is a bit ago.
No, why are we not doing it for the emergency pledge?
Well,
We're doing. We have the
end.
report still. We're not done yet.
Oh. Oh, you really tricked me. So sorry. I'm so sorry. My bad. My bad. I'm so sorry. No. That's my bad. Okay, Chief Justice, tonight. Now we're going to quiet down. All right, Chief Justice, my apologies.
Good evening, everyone. Both mandatory.
So the past weekend, on Friday, the Supreme Court met for another one of our scheduled meetings. We reviewed student group constitutions. So I'm in the process of writing back to the presidents about their views alongside working with the chair of the Elections Commission to kind of formulate an email that will be sent out to all student group leaders about the new procedures and structures for the bylaws. In addition, the Supreme Court will be having its first informational night on Tuesday, April 11th in the Assembly Hall. I encourage everyone in this room to attend. It's a great way to learn what the Supreme Court is about, what services we provide, and what our justices do on a day-to-day. We also will be raffling off Beats Studio Buds, so please be there. And I have been collaborating with SA Leadership for the vote mandatory fees, so that is something I'm still in the works of. And I'm also working on my transition document as well. And as the Director of IT said, I've looked through past bills to find former justices on the court, and I sent that over to him so the SA login page can be updated. And I'm currently trying to figure out a way to get the past cases on there as well to keep it concise and everything in one area as well. That is it.
All right, are there any questions for the Chief Justice? Seeing none, we can move on to the Comptroller report. Here is the microphone. Who's got the microphone?
Good evening, everyone. Throughout the week, I've been working on purchase requests, and I've also been working on our internal budget, trying to track expenses for this year so we can better budget for next year's internal budget. And I want to give a message for everyone. The last day to submit purchase requests will be April 21st. April 21st, 11 p.m. will be the last day to submit PR. So please contact if you have an event past this date. So if you have any upcoming events past April 21st, please reach out to my email, sacomptroller@ob.edu, with the name of your event and then the date or whatever, and I'll be receiving a contract anyway, so just make sure you reach out beforehand, before April 21st, so I can know, like, I have this upcoming purchase request. So any request submitted after April 21st will not be approved, will not be looked at. I'll just simply delete it if I see it. And yeah, that's it. Make sure you email. And as you all know, this is a referendum year, so we are doing the student activity fee campaign. Stop by the GoDesk if you received the Excel sheet, fill out the time slot. Stop by, show some face, talk about the student activity fee. It benefits every single one of us in this room, so this is something that we all should be voting mandatory for.
Are there any questions? All right, then the Deputy Comptroller's report. Oh, wait, question? Yes.
Hi, so I have a question. When will we know about getting approved budget for the next academic year?
Board of Finance will be answering. And I also want to add, wait, never mind.
Okay, then the Deputy Comptroller, wait. Okay, Deputy Comptroller's report.
PRs are going well, usually on approval in like 3 days. If you have any questions or need help finding vendors, we're always happy to help. I know people are doing stalls and other merchandise, people have questions about what vendors they can use. We have a whole list of what people have used in the past, so if you need help with that, reach out to us, we're happy to do that. Last week, because I'm part of the finance committee, we went through the bill budget. The vice president and I had a meeting with the chair of the board on Thursday for some additional concerns and just conversations we had in that this Thursday. I attended the BOF meeting last Friday, made sure to leave before the comptroller's office the application was discussed. Just went over some basic questions the board had. I've been working on my tax card proposal with the university. There was some more concerns the university raised, so I reached back out to my contacts. Their concerns were legitimate, but based on the conversation I had with other schools that have tax cards, it does not seem like it's going to be a problem. So I'm back working with Ken Alexander, and we're going to hope to get that going more. And then finally, I tabled the student activity fee yesterday for a long while. We got our AirPods raffle up and running, so please make sure you all sign up and help with that. The sign-up sheet is out there, and vote mandatory.
All right, are there any questions? Senator Klein has got a question.
Yes, in relation to Stoll's purchase requests from student groups, are student groups allowed to customize their Stolls?
No unique customization, so no names.
What we do allow is the organization can use their budget line to purchase the stole, and then they can use their income line for the personalization. Some vendors will split up those contracts separately. Not all of them will, but if you find one that will do that, and you separate them into 2 different invoices, we can work with that.
Senator Grant?
Do you know when they're allowed to approve budget for next year?
That will be for Josh Turner when he gives his.
We'll get to you when we finish bills, so.
Okay, wait. 1 second though.
We're
Wait,
gonna
are there
be
any,
going-
well, your report's
We're gonna be
on
going over appeals, we're gonna finish
All
going
right,
over them this
clear.
week, and then as soon as we have the result, it should be out to you next week, and the next week, so. No, you don't want that? You wanna go further? All right, that was the second one.
Feel free to continue with your report.
Yeah, so we're continuing appeals this week. Oh, sorry, that was weird. Monday and Tuesday, we're interviewing for comptroller, deputy comptroller, and that's about it right now.
All right, are there any other questions? Okay, now we can move to the legislative agenda for real this time. My apologies. So the community service requirements. All right, feel free to present.
I mean, eventually, yeah.
Right. So basically.
There we go.
Alright, so we changed some stuff in the bill. We put it through executive committee. Some of the changes, the wording, we added some stuff. I think you guys will like it a lot better this time. So, yeah.
Senator Klein.
Would you guys, can we just scroll up on the bill a little bit to the top?
Sorry. Why is this not working? Okay.
Would you guys explain the rationale for keeping the increase in prescribing 201.4.1 from 3 to 4?
So this was because I did talk to a couple of senators, mainly you, but like she definitely had a lot of like, I like when people approach me. But this was because a lot of people had concerns about like next semester having different requirements for the like executive branch.
Really?
And I would like to have the same amount of work done, and I think having more representation at the student orgs that we represent is not more important, but could be something that more people would get behind. And if you want to explain your rationale, I get time to.
Oh, okay. So the make one comment question. Yes, Senator Archer. I did have.
I would just like to state, I did not make this bill or anything. I was just asked for my opinion, and I just felt like it made more sense to show support to student orgs rather than the executive branch, only because, you know, the 4 for executive branch didn't make sense because it's no telling if that branch would stay the same every year. It's no telling if programs would still be running out the office like they are this year. It's no telling that. But I know that student orgs are always going to have programs. Every org always have their annual programs that they have every year. So I just felt like it made more sense to get out and take these student org events rather than the executive branch, because personally, you might not like every event that the executive branch is having, but there's so many student orgs, there's so many options. it shouldn't be no debate about attending 4 events, because I'm not gonna lie, I can attend 4 events in a matter of a week. It's just really that simple.
Okay, Senator Rose.
So this bill says that we're required to attend the student group events. I'd like to be clear. How has that been working this year? Like, what was the mechanism for that?
I don't know.
How we-
To my knowledge, it was not something that was like ever actually implemented, and it was something that the previous CEO chair also struggled with. This is something, like, this bill has been in the works for maybe 2 years now, to like my recollection. So like essentially it was oversight. It was something that wasn't emphasized and wasn't actually like worked on. I can say that some senators have sent me like proof of them at events in the last couple of weeks since this bill hit the floor the first time. I'm obviously not going to be like being like everyone needs to send me stuff right now, just because that's not fair. So this is really for going in the future. And then in the future, like whether I'm in this body or not, I would like it to be known to the chair, the vice chair, and the CEO chair, like these bylaws, and you should be reading the bylaws before you get here to understand what you're doing. And after this bill, I do want to look into the committee requirement bylaw changes. So I'm just doing things like piecemeal as I go.
So it says that you're required to attend them. How are we keeping track of that? Like, what would be the mechanism for next year for keeping?
So for specifically student group affairs, like student boards. So that's a little bit trickier than within the directors, but I'm honestly like taking, if it's an event where you can take a photo, but that's not the end all be all, because I know that there are events that can't. And then having like flyering, having like maybe somebody from the organization CC'd, whether it's an e-board member or whatever, CC'd on the email and be like, yep, I saw them, is another way to do that. It's just like I'm trusting people, but like those are the kind of things that I put in place, if that makes sense to you. If you have better ideas, you let me know.
Wait, did you want to give? No. Okay, Senator Klein.
So if you're going to be raising the amount of student group meetings senators would have to attend, why not also raise the amount of events and programs that we have to attend hosted and endorsed by the executive branch?
Because you guys didn't like that last time. So I did the thing where I talked to people and edited the bill. And also, yeah. No, so both are still required. But student group events were requiring 4, initially required 3. Student association events, we originally required 3, then required 4, and now backed up to 3. So we just kind of flip-flopped the 2. So you still have to go to 7 events in total. 3 of them student association, 4 of them student org.
Okay.
I have a move. If there are no other questions or debate, a move to passes by unanimous consent.
All right, there's been a move to pass this by unanimous consent. Do we have a second? Senator Cooper is at a second. Are there any objections? Seeing none, this bill passes
Thank you.
I
love you more. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Like that's his name.
Okay, the scholarship advisement.
This bill is sponsored by Senator Clark.
initially referred to and approved by the Board of Finance. Just a point of clarification.
Okay, I'm just gonna scroll to the next one.
I have not been up here in a while. It's been a minute. So I'm going to be doing a couple of things really quickly, so bear with me. As sponsor, I'm going to amend the entirety of the bill because, as I mentioned to exec a couple of weeks ago, the bylaws pertaining in the 500 sections, there's a bylaw that states it's supposed to be in Times New Roman 12. It is not in Times New Roman or 12 font. So I'm going to ask that all of this is just edited to reflect the Transparent Editing Act and to correct the font